What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another highly beneficial video brought to you by Mantown Fitness. Today, we are going to go over the pros and the cons of a plant-based, vegetarian, vegan, alkaline diet, whatever you want to call it. Me myself personally, I have been plant-based for I was plant-based, past tense, for 2 years. From the end of 2020 up until the end of 2022, I was following a plant-based diet. Initially during that time, I was actually for a few months following an alkaline diet, right, which deals with a certain pH balance, right. However, you do have some alkaline foods that are acidic. That's what some of the people won't tell you. We'll get into that later on in the video. But I was main part for the main part plant-based for 2 years. So what made me start, right? What made me start doing the plant-based diet? Initially, I came across, of course, my cousin Jermaine, right? Some of you may know him, my former nutritionist. He was following the Dr. Sebi diet for a number of years, saw a substantial amount of benefit in it, has an immune system that I've never seen anybody have before. I mean, our whole family had caught COVID at one point, and he was in contact with us physically, and never, not once, did he get sick. He is not vaccinated. I repeat, he is not vaccinated. He just follows those type of guidelines, and he never got sick. So, never even seen the man cough like since I've been home from prison. Like, it's crazy. Anyways, um, so after him persuading me, after a number of years of me shutting him down and telling him I'm not about to eat grass, I need my protein, this, that, and the third, like, I finally gave it a shot. And initially, the initial detox that I had from removing and cleansing away from the chicken, the fish, the lamb, the eggs, the dairy was amazing. It was amazing to the point where, like, I had the level of focus that I had, like, my mental focus was like out of this world. Like, I felt like that movie, what's that one movie? Limitless, I think it's called. I forget the actor's name. He was in the movie Hangover back in the day. I forget the white guy's name, but in that movie, it's like, I guess the guy was taking a pill, and like he felt limitless. Like he didn't age. He could think fast. I can't remember the details of the movie. I haven't seen it in quite a number of years, but anyways, I felt like, oh boy, like I could move fast. I had and my endurance was up to par. Um, I felt myself getting stronger initially. However, over time, we got to the point where I was definitely thinning out. I was thinning out, but it wasn't really concerning because I never really been more so like on the aesthetics type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like this, like, I don't train for aesthetics. I train for performance and functionality. So the aesthetics, it wasn't really didn't really hurt me. Like, I still had a nice physical appearance, right? But my performance was still up to par until I got to a point where I suffered a shoulder injury. I partially tore my labrum the day before Ramadan of 1442 Hijri. So that would have been 2021. 2021 in April, I tore my labrum. I couldn't do a dip. I couldn't do a push up. I couldn't do a pull up. I couldn't do anything overhead. It hurt that bad, and it took me a few months. I had to self rehabilitate myself using resistance training, resistance bands, did a lot of isolations, and I just had to really just focus on my core and my legs. I could do some bicep curls, but for the most part, like, my shoulder was just, it was done. The doctor said it would have took about almost 18 months, something like that, to fully recover. Like, so the stuff that I'm doing now, like, I'm supposed to just now be getting back into that technically, but um in 2021, like the end of that year, I was doing weighted muscle ups and everything. I was still on the plant-based diet, and I was still putting 60 pounds on up on the muscle ups on the rings. So it's like, you know you kind of give and you take, right? Like, you give one thing, you take another. Like, it is what it is. So um I suffered another unusual injury, I guess, that same year. I started suffering from like knee clicks and like real bad discomfort in my knee, my right knee. I couldn't really squat low. Once I got to like 275, like I couldn't go past 90. And mind you, this is after having a 365-pound PR on the squat bar, on the barbell squat, for years, and I couldn't even get low past 275. Excuse me. So that was kind of concerning. Um, and like I said, I didn't really connect the dots between the plant-based diet and then the correlation with these unusual injuries that are just now starting to appear. So we fast forward to summer of last year, which would have been summer 2022. I suffered another injury. I had a tricep tear, like a really, I won't even say it's a tricep tear, but it was a real bad, like unusual pain in that tricep reaching down to the elbow, right? And that really came from, I guess, training hard, but at the same time, at that point, I came down to the common denominator, the common problem that, was in my face was the lack of protein. It was the lack of protein and the lack of B12 vitamin. So, of course, we know what protein is, but B12 vitamin is very, very important, right? This is going to help with your sleep. It's going to help with your nervous system. It's going to help with your body being able to absorb fatty acids and amino acids and amino acid metabolism and stuff like that. So that's very important to have, right? It also helps with your DNA. It's a cofactor in your DNA synthesis. So that's really important to know as well. Like that B12 being out of my body for so long, it really started to catch up. And one thing about it is that when I got blood work done, when I got my shoulder looked at, my doctor even told me, she said, are you plant based? I said, yeah, I've been plant based for, you know, almost a year now. She said, well, you really have to be concerned because your B12 levels are very low, and she recommended me to get some shots. So I ended up having to get the injections, but I didn't even make time to get the injections until almost a year later, which was a few months ago. I was getting B12 shots weekly, and I did see the improvement in my performance when I started to get them, and I also saw a difference in my sleep pattern as well. I started to get really good, better quality sleep on the B12 shots. Like, mind you, this was still under the plant-based diet. I was just transitioning off about a month or so later. So, the protein as well. Like, I was doing the walnuts, I was doing the Brazil nuts, I did the quinoa, I did the processed fake Beyond Meat, and then the fake little fish sticks that you would, get out of the markets, the Target, the Mom's Organic. You would get that stuff out the store, heat it up, and then give you some protein, but it's not enough. Like, it's not enough. Like, and then not only that, like, you can only get complete protein, but from a certain, only a few sources. You can only get a few uh complete proteins from specific sources. That is only the quinoa and the buckwheat. And with the quinoa, like, that's a very popular plant protein. Um, it is a complete protein, but it's not giving you enough grams per serving. So now you have to uh eat a substantial amount of it, which is gonna pack on more calories. And just to get enough protein in my body, just over time, like, it just wasn't making sense to me. It just wasn't making sense to me. And I did it. I did chickpeas. I did black beans. I did all types of stuff, bro. And like, it just wasn't working anymore. Right? It been doing the portobello, the oyster mushrooms, spelt flour. I messed with all that stuff, bro. And like I said, it just wasn't giving me the 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 muscle repair that I needed to keep on going at that level. Like, cause me, like, once again, I'm a athlete amongst many other things. So being an athlete and a regular person, like, a regular person can probably get on the plant-based alkaline diet and see a substantial amount of benefit. They will see the improvement in their immune system. They'll see improvement in their sex drive. They'll see improvement in, maybe arthritis, chronic pain, chronic diseases that they are going through, even some cancers, right? They will see the benefits and all of that. But ultimately, ultimately, you are going to be leaving out key things. Key things for me was the B12 and the protein. So, for the most part, being on the plant based diet was all around the experience that I needed. I needed to be, you know, after at that point 26 years on this earth, I had to get away from eating the conventional food that we are all accustomed to eating, right? So today I still don't eat any dairy. That's just my personal preference. No, it's not haram. We got people out here that will say so many terrible things about dairy, about milk in general. But for me personally, I don't like to eat dairy because of what it does to my body, right? I don't see myself as being as sharp, as strong, as focused when I do have dairy in my system. I start to feel lethargic, and it's just not for me. I don't believe that I'm lactose or anything like that. But for me, I just don't deal with it. I just don't deal with it, you know. Of course it is from the sunnah. There's nothing that violates the sunnah that says that, who is this? Hello? Hello? Anyways. It's nothing from the Sunnah that says that you don't now have to uh that dairy is haram, right? But you also do have to understand that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the milk that he was drinking and the milk that we're drinking today are two totally separate things. They weren't drinking pasteurized milk. They weren't even getting their milk from cows, to my knowledge. And if I'm saying anything incorrect, may Allah forgive me. But they were getting their milk from camels. They were drinking camel's milk. They weren't drinking cow's milk. Like, let's get that understood. And let alone it was straight drop. It wasn't processed like the milk that we see today that's been tampered with. There's nothing wrong with milk. It's once you start alternating it and making it uh increasing the shelf life, putting chemicals in it, the estrogen and all that bull crap, the hormones that y'all shoot these animals up with, that's when it becomes problematic. So that's why I stay away from the milk. I don't have access to a cow that I can just get straight milk from. If I did, that would be a different story. I would drink that. But for the most part, the stuff that, we are ingesting into our bodies every single day, whether it be the dairy, whether it be the fried chicken, the grease, the oily food, whether it be vegan or plant based or, carnivore. Like, if you're eating this stuff on a regular basis and you're not balancing it out with at least half of your food being fruit and being able to push out the crap that is in your intestines, stuck in your colon, and what have you, then ultimately you're going to have problems. So that's kind of why, once again, I went to the plant based diets because I wanted a healthy immune system. Of course, this being at the time of the pandemic, I wanted to have an immune system that could tolerate the punishment of society and the food that we eat. You know what I'm saying? Not even including the air that we are breathing that is also toxic. So, furthermore, where was I at? I was just kind of went off track. But, anyways, you know, being a performance athlete on a plant based diet, um, over time you're going to see your body deteriorate. I'm just being honest. That's just me personally. It may work for other people, but you're not going to be able to keep up with the competition. You're not going to be able to effectively pack on muscle mass because of the lack of protein that is there on the plant-based diet. And not only that, like I said, the B12 is going to be absent from your body as well. So this is just a couple things that you want to be mindful of if you plan on getting on a plant-based diet. For regular people that are overweight, I definitely recommend it. Just make sure you're doing it the right way. It does cost, but so does the clothes that we wear. So does the designer. So does the vacations. So does going out to parties and clubbing. These things cost. So it all depends on what you are willing to prioritize. If you want to go out there and drink Casamigos, but then complain about a plant based diet being too much money, then that's on you. You know what I'm saying? Just don't be surprised that you're still stuck where you are at because of the simple fact that what you don't change your eating habits, and you don't even got to go plant based to change your physique and get your health together, get your life together. But you still do have to make some changes, and you just got to find that change that works for you. For me, I found the change in the plant based diet, and I found the change on going back dairy free diet. You know what I'm saying? It's just all about finding that balance. Incorporating the fasting, incorporating the intermittent fasting, the dry fasting, the water fasting, what have you. Just incorporate something, right? Try and really challenge yourself to abstain from certain foods that aren't good for you, whether they be processed, whether they be healthy, but you're eating them in such large amounts they become unhealthy. These are the type of things that we got to be mindful of, right? So, you know, y'all know where the find is at. I'm running my mouth. Y'all know where the find is at. Umasada Naturals shop. This is some elderberry sea moss. We got to drop off to a customer today. This is our parasite colon cleanse right here. You know what I'm saying? Oh, before we leave too, another important thing I wanted to go over. So the whole protein thing isn't a thing, right? This is something that we see in the alkaline communities. Um, Shouts out to the Bowmans, the Dr. Sabi family, and all of them. Not trying to take anything away from their work. However, we do see a lot of people that do follow them, not them specifically, but the people that follow them. They use these remarks that, like, what is a protein, right? I even believe maybe even Dr. Sabi even probably mentioned this before, right? Like I said, if I said anything incorrect, please forgive me. But um, they use this remark that a protein isn't a thing, it's made up or what have you. And I find it amazing is that these same people that use these remarks, they cannot keep up with my clients. We won't even talk about keeping up with me, but they will not be able to keep up with my clients in the gym. They will not be able to survive a routine that I put the client up against anybody who makes this claim. And I've done seen it. These guys that follow these Dr. Sabi diets that don't believe in protein, they come into the gym. Their immune systems are amazing. It's beautiful how they never get sick. But they are like, 20 minutes they are gassed out. 20 minutes they are breaking down. 20 minutes they calling for an ambulance. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you need protein, buddy. Like, let's not get that misunderstood. They try to say carbs and fats, these aren't things, man. Y'all are tripping. To rule out that macros aren't a thing because one man, who made a significant amount of contributions to the health and wellness community altogether across the world, said that a protein, we don't always get things right here. You know what I'm saying? I make mistakes, and I believe, if Sabi said this was a major mistake on his end. Protein is a thing. If he said this, believe me, he was incorrect on that. So that's just my take on, you know, the plant-based diet and what have you. So, if you guys have any questions or concerns, leave your comments in the section below. What's up, man? How you doing? If you guys have any questions or concerns, leave your comment below and let me know what you guys think if you ever been through a plant-based journey yourself. I'm out.